Hello everyone, welcome to Learnzilla. So today we'll learn the topic of geometry. So in geometry, we'll try to cover different topics like lines and angles, polygons and triangles, circles. So in this most of these topics are theoretical in nature. So the problematic part will just be the application of the formula that we learn here. So circles is one topic where you have to apply the concepts that you have learned. So for that particular part, we will be solving some examples to make that clearer. But otherwise, for all these topics, we'll just go through an understanding of what these things actually mean and how do we look at these topics and what are the important topics when it comes to an exam point of view. And with that in mind, let us go ahead and get started. So as we've already discussed, the four important topics in geometry that we cover are this: lines and angles, angles and polygons, triangles and circles. So in lines and angles, before we start, I would just want to define what a line segment is, what a ray is, and what a line is. So when you're talking about a line, theoretically, this is a line and it has no endpoints. So it can extend from infinite and extend till infinite. So a ray is a line with one endpoint and the other side can extend till infinite. And a line segment has two endpoints A and B and it is of a finite length. So that is the basic understanding of a line segment and a ray. So very important thing when you talk about lines is, so the classic case of two parallel lines intersected by a transversal. So here if you look at this figure, M and L are straight lines. M is parallel to L and N is the transversal which cuts both the lines. So here in this kind of a setup, we'll have to understand what all angles are equal, what all angles are important and how they are defined. So firstly, before we go to the angles, we'll try to understand the definition of what a complementary angle and what a supplementary angle is. Complementary angles are the ones where the sum of both the angles is equal to 90 degrees. So for example, 30 degrees and 60 degrees, this is a set of angle which is called complementary. Now, supplementary angles, when you're talking about, the sum of angles add up to 180 degrees. So here if you look at this figure, you see lines 1, 2, you see lines ML, you see angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all these angles, they add up to 180 degrees because they are part of a straight line. So you can call all of them as supplementary angles. So just to make this understanding clearer, if this is a straight line and if there are two angles here, A and B, always remember A and B are supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees, because you know the fundamental that the angle in a straight line is 180 degrees. Now let us talk about corresponding angles, interior angles, alternate interior angles, so all these things. Now firstly let us go to corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are the angles which occupy same position on both the lines. So if you look at 1 and 5 are at the same place on both the lines. So they are corresponding angles. Similarly, you can have 2 and 6. Same is the case with 3 and 7 and 4 and 8. So all these angles are called corresponding angles because they occupy the same position on both the lines. So that is why you call them as the corresponding angles. Now let me look at the interior angles. So this is by definition the angles which are in between both the lines on either side of the transversal. So this is my line M, this is my line L. So these two angles and these two angles, 3, 4, 5 and 6, all of them are my interior angles. Straightforward. Similarly, angle 1, 2, 7, 8, which are on the other side of the transversal, outside the lines. So these are my exterior angles. So 1, 2 and 7, 8 are my exterior angles. Alternate interior angles, now if I am looking at, so by definition my interior angles are the angles which are inside the lines on either side of the transversal. So what are my alternate interior angles? So 3, 4, 5, 6 are my interior angles that we have already agreed. So alternate interior angles are the ones which are on opposite sides of the transversal. So 3 and 5 are interior angles which are on opposite sides of the transversal. So they are alternate interior angles. Same goes with 4 and 6. So these two pairs are my pair of alternate interior angles. Now if I am looking at the other side of it, 1, 2, 7, 8 are my exterior angles. So 1, 7 and 2, 8 are my alternate exterior angles. That is also established. Now one more thing I am talking about is my vertical angles. So what are vertical angles? If I am looking at these two lines M and L, 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8. So these are my vertical angles. So simply if I draw this, A, B and B, these two are the AA and BB are the set of my vertical angles. So that is all about these lines and angles. Let's see some rules. Alternate exterior and alternate interior angles are congruent. So what does it mean? So this is a alternate exterior angle and this is a alternate interior angle. So we are saying that alternate exterior and alternate interior angles are congruent. Congruent means same, equal. So this angle is equal to this angle is equal to this angle. Corresponding angles are congruent. So corresponding angles, we have already seen what a corresponding angle is. Let us now try to revisit the concept of corresponding angles. So this and this are my corresponding angles. This and this are my corresponding angles. So again we are saying that corresponding angles are congruent. Same again. We are also saying that vertical angles are congruent. So vertical angle is nothing but this. So for this is the vertical angle. Similarly for this is the vertical angle. So we are also saying that vertical angles are congruent. That is one more observation that we have made.